right, here we go. Good morning, Farina. You are number one on YouTube Live. It's good to see you. Good morning. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Come on out here. Oh, my hair's a mess. Lachey, you're number one. Good morning. Good to see you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rebecca. See you out there. Appreciate you. Nene, good morning. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, everybody.
Lauren, good to see you. Dania, good morning. Dana, good morning. Sierra, good to see you. Angelia, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we're going to let some more people get in here, and then we're going to get started today. And this is a great day. It's Monday morning. It's a good day.
Thank God it's Monday.
Thank God it's Monday. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you all can hear us. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Renee.
Morning.
Good morning, Dania. Good morning, Dana. Good morning, Letha. Good morning, Erica. Yvette, good to see you. Good morning. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead.
No. Is her name Yvette or Yvette?
I thought it was Yvette. But she'll correct you. Hi, Micheline.
Well, she hasn't done it yet. And I call her Yvette and you call her Yvette. She hasn't corrected me.
Yvette, correct which one of us? Because I'm almost certain it's me. Good morning. That's correct. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Karen. Shay, good morning. Good morning. Well, before we get started, want to remind you all, good morning, Buka. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Nina Vessels. Good morning. Good morning, Tangela. Hey, everybody. Well, this morning, what we do want to do is encourage you all. If you see some stars running around here, click a star, because what that star does is it tells Facebook that you do value the content that we're putting out here every day. And you support Melva Henderson Ministries. And so you're enabling us to be able to share our message on multiple platforms, via television, radio. We are on the radio. We're going to television. We were on television, but we're going back to television. And it helps us do what we desire to do on all of the social media platforms. And so although they're free, there's ads and different things that we want to run. And on top of that, our desire is to get our footprint into the communities of the world. And so we are excited to have you on with us. So if you see a star thing where you can give us some stars, go ahead and do that. I appreciate you in advance. But today and all this week, I'm going to start today. I don't know really what we're going to be talking about this week, but you do know this, that we come to you every morning on Fresh Baked Manna Live for one purpose, and that's to add value to your life, to help you be the best version of you that you can be, because God has a plan and a mission for you. And our desire is to help you take the word of God and put God's word into the day-to-day of your life so that you can walk it out and see the fruit of that lifestyle. It's something a lot of people don't see, the fruit of living with and for God. And so we want you to be able to see it. And so this is Skip. I'm Melva, and we are honored to be with you all today.
So do you desire to strengthen the life and the faith
I do.
of the believer worldwide?
Why? We desire to strengthen the life and faith of the leader and the believer worldwide. And we believe that we're doing that. I believe that through our Bible Training Center. Those of you that feel like you're called to the ministry, WBTI.org. Through our church, we pastor a local church in Milwaukee, World Outreach Center. If you don't have a church home, we would love to be your pastors. Come on over. We're every Sunday at 9:30. We're in the pandemic, so we're only doing one service. And but we're doing a lot of stuff digitally, meaning we're physical and digital. And so, yeah, we'll get into that. But let's get into the message today, because we're going to talk about giving God your best. In Mark chapter 14, verse number 3, it says, "And being in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment of spikenard, very precious. And she brake the box and poured it on his head. My testimony is I gave my heart to the Lord when I was 12 years old. And at that time, there was nothing in the world that I wanted more than to live for Jesus. I mean, anything that was required or asked of me or my pastor or the people in the church, I did my best to live as close to what they were asking of me as possible. When I prayed, although I had limited knowledge about prayer, I did it with my whole heart. When I attended church, if it was in my power, I was on time and I was ready to serve and give my full supply. When I read my Bible, which I rarely did back in those days, I would read. I read it, but, I didn't know what I was reading. So I would get frustrated and kind of put it down, but because it was hard for me to understand all those these and thous, I didn't know that there were different translations of the Bible. So I kind of pulled away from reading the word back then. We didn't know about all the different translations and all of that. So I didn't know that there was help for me. So I had no idea that there was such thing as an amplified Bible or a living Bible or a message Bible. I don't even think the message Bible was out then.
No, the message Bible didn't come out till 92.
Like 92 or something like that. And so for us, it was the King James version of the Bible or bust. But when I did read the word, I studied it as hard as I could because I wanted to give God my very best. And so no matter what I did, no matter where I went, I endeavored to give the Lord all that I had. And as I got older, things started changing. I became increasingly distracted by the culture of our day. Things, voices, and people were drawing me away from what I once valued and prized. And I started to notice that although in my heart, I wanted to give God my attention was divided. I would give some to the Lord and some to the world and what. So I went from giving 100% to now maybe 50, 40, and sometimes even 10% of what I had to the Lord. And so I went from putting my heart and soul into what I was doing to barely walking with God. So when we look at the scripture that we see in Mark chapter 14, verse 3, you can't help but to realize that although this woman was offered what she was offering to Jesus had a beautiful fragrance to it, it's impossible to ignore the fact that she was offering him something that cost her. There it is.
That's it.
Something that cost her. She didn't give him something that didn't have any value to it. She gave him something that she was sacrificing, and it was her best. And the Bible tells us that she gave him what they call the essence of nard. It was in an alabaster box. First of all, the essence of nard comes from this plant in Asia that once it's planted in perfumes was known to cost an upwards of $20,000 US dollars in that day. And it may not seem like a lot of money today, but if we did the math for inflation today, that would be equivalent to 30 million US dollars. Yeah. So she was giving him something that was of enormous value. And this woman poured it on Jesus's head, right? And she gave him her best. The other thing to notice is that she is the container that she brought it in. She brought it in an alabaster box. That wasn't shabby either. An alabaster box was it was very expensive in biblical times. And if somebody had one, it was used for very important purposes. And so looking at your life, can you say that everything that you're doing right now, that you're doing it for the Lord and that you're doing it with all your heart?
No.
No?
No. No.
No.
No.
No.
If we could be completely honest and look at ourselves and go, in some instances, we're doing just enough to get by.
Right. You're giving portions of your heart.
Yeah.
But not your whole heart.
Yeah. But there's different reasons that we can give. We have lives. We have family members that take up time. We have jobs that take up time. We have, so many good reasons. But when we get to heaven and we have to stand before him, will those reasons mean anything?
Right. They're not going to mean anything. So think about those times in your life when you failed to pour out your heart in times of prayer, when you were in prayer and that you went to sleep instead of giving your heart an opportunity and to engage with God. Think about those times when, those mornings when you stumble out of bed and you're half asleep, or, you talk in words to God and you're half-hearted about meditating on the word or whatever. Think about those times when, a small portion of your increase could have been given to advance somebody else's life, but instead you bought something to satisfy your own needs. Or those days when you just, you're just kind of going along and you're really not honoring
Going through the motions.
right. And so what does it cost you to give God all of you, 100% of you? And what does that look like? To think about giving God the best of you. Because no matter what we do, and no matter where you go in life, no matter what the call of God or the mission that God has given you, it's important that you give 100% of what it is. And we've got to learn to offer God our best.
I think people have the misunderstanding that giving God 100% of you and giving God 100% of your time, they're two different things, because you can give God all of you and still be on your job and be doing everything you need to do.
Right.
You can give God 100% of you and be in the grocery store.
Right.
So sometimes people think giving him 100% of me is also giving him 100% of my time. No, it's not that. God's not requiring all your time, just like he's not requiring all your money. He just says, give me 10%.
Right.
And I believe it's the same with your time. If you just give him, maybe, 2.5 hours a day, first of all, how much better would your life be? But you still got, 20, 21 and a half hours to still do whatever else you need to do, go wherever else. And so we just have to, I think what more than anything, God is saying, prioritize me.
Yeah. And prioritizing him means that you don't allow anything in your heart, a space. You don't allow space that belongs to God in your heart. You don't allow anything else to come into your life to occupy that space. It means that there is a space in my heart that's dedicated just for God. And the times that I may have to set my life apart for him, I'm not giving anything or anyone else that space. When you think about it, we've been together 30 something years. And in those 30 something years, we don't do everything together. There are times when he needs to do what he needs to do and I need to do what I need to do. But when we come together, it's important that we make each other a priority in our life.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about you prioritizing God in your life. And even when I'm away from Skip and I'm having to make decisions, I don't make decisions independent of Skip. I consider Skip. If I'm going to buy a car, if I'm going to, I consider Skip. And so what does that look like?
That's seeking first the kingdom of Skip and his way of doing things so that all this stuff can be added to you. That's what that is. And so it's the same thing with God. It's seeking first the kingdom of God.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, honestly, that's
okay.
No. Honestly, that's what it is. Like, I don't make a lot of decisions without you.
Right.
I'll talk to you. So I'll seek first Melva's way of doing things. I'll say, okay, let us talk about this. And it's funny, but it really is true the way we do things. We seek each other first before we go get counsel from somebody else.
Right.
Before we, talk about it with somebody else. Hey, what do you think about this?
Right.
And I believe that's the way God wants us to do things.
Because it
Talk
shows
about
that
me first.
Yeah, it shows that we are in relationship with one another,
Right.
that I'm not forgetting that I'm not by myself. And that's all that I believe that God is saying. Don't forget that you're not by yourself,
Right.
that I'm here. Remember, he said, in all of your ways, acknowledge me and I will make straight and plain your path. And so being in relationship with God, it requires you to be cognizant of the fact that I'm not by myself.
Right.
Any decision that I need to make, he's going to help me make that decision. Any situation I find myself in, he's going to be there to get me out of that situation. And so it's just remembering and prioritizing.
And I think the other thing it does is it also, by communicating with him, he lets you know his part and he lets you know your part.
Right. Right. He opens things up for you to be able to see it. One of the powerful things that happens, you think about what Skip was saying about seeking first the kingdom of each other. The powerful thing about that is that there's never anything that goes on that we don't know about it.
Right.
There's no surprises. And that's the thing that God is saying. He said, I gave you my spirit so that you will know things that are to come. But if you don't position yourself to be able to settle things down, to hear the voice of his spirit, then you won't know. There will be things that will catch you off guard and things that will catch you by surprise.
Right.
But if you walk closely with him, remember Jesus said in the book of John, chapter 15, he said, me and the Father will come and sup with you, meaning we will come and dine with you. When people come to dine together, they're fellowshipping.
Right.
And he's saying in that space, you can ask me whatever you want and I'll give it to you.
Right.
In other words, we can come and we can reason together.
That's
about
an access point.
Exactly.
He says, listen, we'll come and live with you, and I will have all access passed to your heart, and you'll have an all access passed to my knowledge, my wisdom, my understanding. But that's the place where we let him come and sup and dine, so he can have an all access pass to your heart, so he can make your life look like he wants it to look like. And so
and
when
what
it's
you
time,
want,
yeah,
it's really what you want. You know, the question becomes is how do you want to grow?
Yeah.
How do you want to grow? How do you want to position yourself?
Right.
Because the measure of time that you commit to getting with the one that has the wisdom to help you grow and expand your business, your ministry, your family, the measure of time that you're committed to spending with him can determine how wide and how far you can grow.
Right.
It will expand your capacity, because you will never go to God and spend time with him. You know, you think you sacrifice your time, but really you'll never sacrifice time to be with God that you won't get back 100-fold. It's going to make you so much better whenever you make the decision to get along with God, to allow him to speak to you. You know, this morning I got up very early. I woke up at about 3:00 this morning. I got out of bed at about 4:00, but from 3:00 to 4:00, I was talking to the Lord. At 4:00, I got out of the bed and I came in another room. I came in this room and I turned on music. And I just began to pray and just listen and just let my heart communicate with God. And in there, God gave me 3 ideas. 3 ideas I got this morning because I made the decision that while everything is quiet, everybody is asleep, to get along with God and allow God to speak to me. Now that happens to you at night.
Yeah. You know, that's God doing what he said. God will give you knowledge of witty inventions
and ideas.
And so how does that happen? That happens from you getting close enough to him, quiet enough to hear his voice. What I love about God is, you know, people think that God is this loud, boisterous, dynamic guy. And he is only that way when he needs to get your attention. When he needs
to be, yeah.
When he needs to do things on your behalf, or, you know, to grab your attention. But for the most part,
still small voice.
That's still small voice. That's
still
how he
small
speaks.
Voice.
I'm not in the wind. I'm not in the storm.
thunder.
I'm not in the fire. I'm not in all that.
Right.
But where am I? In that still small voice.
And where is that?
In your heart.
In your spirit. That's where the still small voice is.
And what's amazing about that to me is God speaks, and he always sounds like you.
Yeah.
He always sounds. You're like, did I say that or did God say that? Well, what is it doing? Is it advancing the kingdom or advancing you? If it's advancing others, then it's God speaking. But if it's only about you, then that was probably an idea from you. But God,
there are times that God will speak to you just about you, especially when there's things going on in your heart that he wants to correct.
Well,
there are
but
times.
That's still about for the kingdom.
Yeah, it's still, to make you better. Yeah.
But what I love about God is that quiet voice is to bring peace to you. It's to calm you down when you may have chaos in your heart, but his quiet voice calms you down. It brings peace, but it also makes sure that he doesn't scare you when he talks to you, and that I'm not afraid of a quiet voice, but somebody who's screaming and hollering. Yeah, I'm not as comfortable around all that noise. But when God comes with peace, because he is peace, then it's easier to receive what he has, because your heart goes, that's what I'm drawn to, is that softness of God, that sweetness of God.
Right. The Bible talks about how the word is easily entreatable.
Yeah.
When you think about something that's easily entreatable, that means that you don't have to force it to receive. It doesn't have to force its way. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be forced to be received.
Right.
Easily entreatable means that it's very easy to digest.
Right.
And so we're slowing things down today because one of the missions of our life is to get people into the presence of God. It absolutely is my desire, is to see people move themselves into the presence of God. And that becomes a very, very easy thing to do when you begin to prioritize God in your life and you give him your best instead of giving him, one time years ago, I did this message called Living in the 100%. And I was talking about doing things. It's kind of like what you were talking about when you said we're going to live at the top of every level that God places us on.
Yeah.
Well, when you're living at the top of every level that God places you on, what you're doing is you're doing your best no matter what level you're on. When I remember when I was pregnant with my twins and I was 20 years old. I was an unwed mother at the time. And my kids' clothes were not clean. And my mother came into my house and she saw my kids' clothes. And what she did is she told me, she bought them new clothes. She put the clothes on me and she said to me, don't you ever leave your children looking like this. She said, okay, you don't have a husband. Okay, you don't have this, or okay, you don't. She said, but you don't have to look like it. And what she was saying to me is bring your best to the table every single day. It doesn't matter what the circumstances might be, because one day, if you can see yourself out of it, you will get out of it. And so she was saying, do your best. And so if you're going to make the bed, make the whole bed and make it neat. We got this saying around here, no bumps in the bed. We don't want to see no bumps in the bed. And so you can have bumps in your life because you're not doing.
She's talking about making up the bed. No bumps after you've made the bed up. But other than that, it could be bumping.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about keeping things, giving God your absolute best in the areas of life that he has called you to be.
Right.
So whatever it is that your hands find to do, he said, do it with all your might. How do I do that? I do it as unto the Lord.
But think about that. We also have, you and I have a rule whenever we leave this house, ABC, which means what? Always be cute. That's allowing people to see our best when we get out there, putting our best foot forward. If you look in the mirror and you don't feel cute or you don't think you look cute, change what you're putting on so that you can be confident and give someone your best. Because a lot of times, if you're not confident in what you wear,
if you got to ask, how does this look okay? Don't do it. Don't give your best, give yourself your best. And I think that that's really where it starts.
Right.
If you're not willing to give yourself your best, you ain't going to give God or anybody else your best.
Right.
And so you have to give yourself your best. I remember one time I have a girlfriend, and she had beautiful, long flowing hair. And she would go in the store and she would spend like $120 on hair care products. And I was like, $120. And she looked at me and she said, it's my hair. Right. She said, it's my hair, Melvin. Now she had this long flowing hair and my hair was that long. And she said, it's my hair. Right. And from that day on, I started to add value to my hair by buying products that were good for my hair. It didn't matter what it cost. I was willing to pay the price because it's my hair. That's what I'm talking about. And you do it at the level that you're at. Exactly. You don't have to spend, if you can't afford $100 and something for your hair care, what can you afford? If you're at the dollar store, what's the best that they have to offer at the dollar store? That's what we're talking about.
Give your best on whatever level.
Give yourself your best.
Max out your level. Whatever your level is, don't live at the bottom of that level. Live at the highest part of that level that you can live on, and make an effort to live there. Don't think you're just going to get there because you want it, but there's some work you have to put in. There's work you got to put in to give God your best, because you got an enemy that doesn't want you giving him your best. So you can be distracted by cell phones, emails, texts, TV, family, job. Everything is coming in your space to distract you from giving God your best. But there's a fight. The Bible says we got to labor into rest. What does that mean? There's a fight you're going to have to get you some rest.
And what are you fighting against? You're fighting against mediocrity.
Right.
You're fighting against laziness.
Right.
You're fighting against everything that would tell your mind, every
Right.
voice that would tell your mind that you don't deserve it.
The battle of average.
Right. The battle of average. Everything telling your mind that you don't deserve it, that it don't take all of that, blah, 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 blah. Every morning I get up, the first thing I do when I get up is I get in the shower and I put on my makeup. Now, some people at 4 o'clock in the morning, you putting on makeup? Yep. Because I that's what I want to do to be the best version of me that I can be. And so you think about it, and I don't mean any harm. I'm not talking about anybody. Y'all love me, please love me. But when I go in the grocery store and I see our sisters in the grocery store, they got sleep caps on their head, pajama bottoms on their rear ends, and house shoes on their feet. I'm like, for real, y'all? Really? We can do better. Give yourself better than that. When you show up in the world saying to the world, I'm ready to engage to help somebody else's life. Right. I'm ready to add value to somebody's life. But I promise you, if you walk up to me with just look your best.
And here's the thing. How you present yourself is bait for who you're going to attract. How you present yourself is bait for who you're going to attract. So if you present yourself like you busted and disgusted, who you think you attract? Busted and disgusted people around you.
Right.
But if you present yourself in a well put together manner, in a professional manner, then those people are going to say, yes, they put in the same kind of effort I do. Yes, they're bringing something to the table that I want because I'm bringing this to the table. And so that's how you want to present yourself so that you can get more people like that in your circle so you can either make business moves, make family moves,
or relational moves. Yeah, and you don't have to be suited and booted for that. We're just saying if it's jeans and a t-shirt, rock it. Right. I mean, look the best that you can, because if you don't first put yourself first and honor yourself, right, give yourself the best, you are not going to give God your best. And you have to understand that. And the other way around, if you don't give God the best that you have to offer, you're not going to give yourself the best. And so it just begins with your mindset. And if you have a mindset that thinks that it's not worthy, if you think that you're not worthy, then you're going to treat yourself any old kind of way. It's why we do the things that we do. It's why we don't eat well, because you don't think much of yourself. It's why we don't, take care of ourselves the way that we should. You don't think much of yourself. Sometimes, I go to other countries, other places. Well, I won't get into that. But you think about people that they don't bathe. Mm-hmm. Why don't you bathe? Because you don't think much of yourself. And here you have access to the water, you have access, but you don't think enough of yourself to put yourself in water, to pamper your skin, to pamper your feet, to pamper. We take time out of our day to do what's necessary to make ourselves better. And that's all I'm saying. And I don't want to keep beating that horse, but
let me say this to you. Talking about it costs for you to be better. LeBron James spends $1 million a year on his body. $1 million a year between personal training and food, a chef. He spends $1 million a year on his body so that when it's time for him to go to work, his body can perform on a high level, because that is a priority to him. And so he pays the cost to be the boss, to be the best. And he's been the best for a long time because he puts in the work, the workouts, the food regimen, the rest regimen, so that he can be the best he can everywhere he goes. Whether his school is one of the best out there, his marketing, his brand is one of the best, because he puts in the effort. If you can't be the best, why do it? That's always my mindset. I'm not going to do anything average when I can go and be the best. And it's not a pride thing. When I show up, I want to show the God that's in me and how much He loves me. That's what it's
all about.
I'm trying to represent who I serve.
Right.
And I don't want to represent Him as an average barely getting by God. I want to represent him as a God of power, a God of wisdom, a God of authority, and a God that is more than enough.
That's good. Here's the thing. If you're not there yet, make the decision, and that's where change begins.
That's it.
Make the decision that I'm going to start today. Whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to give my best. I'm going to be my best today. You got to clean your house, clean the house. Clean around the toilet, clean the floors, clean the sink, wash the mirror. You got to clean today. Clean.
No straightening.
Right. No no fixing, like they were saying last night
no,
at Pastor
food.
Pam's thing. Whatever you do it with your whole heart, and then you will see the fruit of that. And so if you haven't been doing it, no condemnation. It's all right. Go to the Lord.
Today is the day of change.
Today is the day to change. And start today where you are with whatever it is that you have in your hand. Do it with all your might, and do it as unto the glory and the honor of God. God bless you all. This is Fresh Baked Manna. We got into stuff I didn't even intend for us to get into, but it was.
See, that's what happens when you ask me.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Flows. I'm a free flower. I get poetic in the heat.
Oh, help me, Jesus. Y'all pray for me. Pray my strength in the Lord. All right. We are so honored to be with you all every morning. This is Fresh Baked Manna Live. We're Skip and Melva Henderson. We love you guys. And our desire is to add value to your life, to help you show up in the world being the best version of you that you can be. Because can't nobody beat you being you but you. God bless you. We love you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.